In the area of the shooting, sources say they recovered a backpack and a semi-automatic rifle. It was described as an AK-47 in the preliminary reporting, and a GoPro camera. The last piece is very interesting because it suggests, if there was such a camera there, that this individual may have wanted to record himself in a first person doing this shooting. So a lot of questions to be answered. Is the suspect, they have the right person? Is that the right car? The weapon that they have has to be processed for evidence and ballistics. If there's video on that camera, if in fact it was recovered as we are told, what will that tell them? But that is what we are seeing right now.
All right, folks, so this is a developing story. I waited a little bit to do the video so that way I could be sure here of the details. But yes, it apparently seems like President Trump has just survived yet another assassination attempt. Yeah, we're not making that up. Okay, this is absolutely insane. It's ridiculous that after what happened literally 2 months ago, like a little more than 2 months ago, somehow once again, a potential assassin appeared to have a line of sight to assassinate Trump. We're still trying to get the details here on this, but to go through the timeline, the reason I didn't make this video right away is because it all started when the Trump campaign released this statement saying President Trump is safe following gunshots in his vicinity. No further details at this time. Now, the reason I waited is because, look, it seems to me, yeah, they tried to assassinate him again, but to play devil's advocate, hopefully maybe it was just like, hey, there was a random shooting in the area and, they just had to evacuate Trump. But ever since then, here are the details we have gotten. So shots were just fired at Trump International Golf Course in West Palm Beach, Florida, where Trump was there golfing. Breaking news here, officials believe that the shots fired at Trump International Golf Club were intended for former President Trump, according to sources familiar on that matter, according to CNN. So yes, it does appear, based on everything we can see, that there was an attempted assassination again.
And we do have a statement from the FBI's office, the National Press Operations Unit, saying, quote, the FBI has responded to West Palm Beach, Florida, and is investigating what appears to be an attempted assassination of former President Trump.
You have to be asking the question, okay, so we already saw what happened on July 13th. We saw that the Secret Service had a serious security failure, and we're still finding some things about it that are just absolutely insane. But now what we're being told is apparently, this was not a public rally. This was not where President Trump announced where he was going to be, which of course begs the question, how exactly did a potential shooter know where Trump was going to be? Right? Because usually with kind of private events like this, they don't want to publicize where the president is for obvious security reasons. So you have to ask that question. And as Gavin Wax here brings up, how did the shooter have good intel of Trump's whereabouts, his schedule? Apparently, the shooter managed to figure out like what hole he was going to be on the golf course and all that stuff.
He returned to the White House, but this event was not on any kind of public schedule, so it's not clear how this alleged lone gunman knew the former president would be playing golf today, and also at what time. We heard the president was on the fifth hole on the front nine at Trump International. How did this lone gunman know? Perhaps he followed the motorcade. Of course, when the former president travels, he travels in a motorcade. He has Secret Service protection. But that is one of the things. If this was another potential assassin, how he had this information.
Anyways, let's tune in here because this is a developing story. Apparently, Sean Hannity has some of the details, so check it out.
Anyway, so long story short is President Trump, they were on the fifth hole. They were about to go up to putt. And the way Steve Witkoff, now, just as a little bit of background, Arthel, I happened to go to breakfast with Steve Witkoff and another friend of mine this morning. And I was invited to play golf. They happen to be really good golfers. I don't have a lot of time to play golf, so I said thank you, but I'm not going to go out on the golf course and get killed out there. But long story short, so they were playing, they were on the fifth hole. And the way Steve described this, the way the president described it, they both had exactly the same story, which was that they heard pop, 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 pop. And Steve went into great specificity and great detail as to what happened right after. With
Isn't it kind of just ironic in a way that in both cases, this essentially happens right after a presidential debate? Someone is trying to take out Trump, and I'm not spreading conspiracies. I'm just pointing out the timeline here. June 27th, like 2 weeks after, when Biden is, just falling apart as a candidate, we know what happened then. It's weird timing, right? Not saying anything, but again, I'm also have to ask the questions like, okay, so somehow the shooter knew he was going to be golfing today, and on top of that, knew what hole he was, like, this was well timed. And I understand July 13th because it's the rally, like, where he's going to be. In this case, he's not at any public event. So you got to ask some questions there.
In seconds, the Secret Service pounced on the president, covered him. You had snipers with tripods. They knew the direction where the shots had been fired, and they had eyes on the location where the shots had been fired. And long story short, they were. I have confirmed with both the president and with Mr. Witkoff that the gun has been found. They identified it as an AK-47. And thanks to Secret Service drone video coverage, they were able to identify one individual involved in this shooting getting into a car after dropping the AK-47. And my understanding, according to both of them, is that that car has been identified, and I believe it's been surrounded. Whether or not that person has been apprehended or not, I don't know. This happened in a matter of seconds. A little more color, a little bit more details on this is that when they got on top of the president, immediately what is called a fast cart that I believe has steel reinforcement and protection was able to whisk the president away. And then the Secret Service immediately sprung into action. They had eyes on where the shooting had occurred. I saw the New York Post report that these were two.
Right, but this still begs the question yet again how it was allowed to happen in the first place. Now, it seems from what Hannity and CNN are reporting, etc., that Secret Service was a little better this time, a little more competent than, the first time, but it's still very strange, okay, how you keep allowing this to happen. I have no idea. And we obviously know that evil people out there are out to get Trump, okay? We know this. You have yet another scenario where he is in a position where there's obviously people with lines of sight on him, Why are you not securing it? I don't understand. How many times does this need to happen for Secret Service to think to themselves, hey, maybe we should, secure areas? I don't know. It's just, it breaks my brain, honestly. And then again, that's assuming that they actually are trying to do their job, which I guess is another discussion for another day.
People shooting at each other outside the course. I do know, and they did confirm that the shots were outside of the course, but certainly seemingly within range of the former president.
So there you go. Same story as July 13th. Same story as Butler, Pennsylvania. Outside of the venue, but with a clear line of sight, and Secret Service is not checking in on it, We
don't have any details on any of that. They don't know that part. I only know the part of what they experienced while they were playing golf at Trump International in West Palm. Thankfully, the president is safe. Steve Witkoff is safe. The Secret Service apparently acted with incredible speed and professionalism, and but certainly alarming in every way imaginable in light of what happened in Butler, as you mentioned.
Yeah, of course, this is very alarming. And Sean, have you spoken to the former president or texted with him?
I have spoken with the president 3 times since this incident, and each time I got a new piece of information. One, that they had found, first of all, what happened with the shooting. The second thing, that they had found an AK-47. Third, that their drone footage was able to give them enough surveillance to identify the exact car that the individual involved in this shooting got into. And further detail that they gave me was that they were updated and told that car had been found identified, was surrounded by law enforcement. I don't know what happened from there. It could not have been too far away. I would say the time frame was less than a half hour. Between the time that the shooting actually took place and they identified the car. So
I'm trying to find out
a half hour. So again, I can't stand all this praise that people throw out for Secret Service for dealing with this stuff, because it's like, okay, it sounds like they have a lot of technology. It sounds like they got a lot of security and they know what they're doing and all this. So why are you allowing it to happen in the first place? Once again, clearly someone appears to be in a position where they have a line of sight. Why wouldn't you secure it? You know what just happened. You have to ask so many questions to Secret Service and what exactly they're doing and why they're so deliberately incompetent, because clearly they haven't, if you can find the car this fast and the drone and all that, how is it happening in the first place? I don't know.
If you spoke to him.
Well, you really want to know the truth, Arthel? He goes, well, there's more details, because I did hear, and Steve Witkoff was very clear. The first thing the president did when he got back to the clubhouse was make sure that everybody else was okay. He didn't see his golf partner with him. Where's Steve? Where's Steve? Where's Steve? And then Steve says, I'm right here. He got in maybe a few minutes behind the president. The Secret Service was able to get everybody to safety. Everybody else was taken off the golf course. Then when the president found out everybody was safe and nobody had been harmed, I guess in typical fight fashion, Trump said to Steve, and then he related to me, I really wanted to finish the hole. I was even, and I had a birdie putt, and it was on the fifth hole, which shows a lot of I think guts and gumption, and very Trumpian, I guess, in every way. But the good news we can report is that in spite of this being in such close proximity to the president and others and the Secret Service, that they were not harmed, and that they are in safety. And I know the investigation will go forward. Probably more details, I would imagine, as time unfolds.
Yeah, more details. We still don't know what happened really with the first assassination attempt. Okay, did they ever figure out a motive? Did they? I don't think they did, of Butler, Pennsylvania. So not really going to trust the FBI to do a great job on that one. But look, ultimately, I will say, okay, thank God President Trump is safe. Thank God everyone, nobody was hurt or injured in this situation. So that's obviously fantastic. But at this point, I don't know what else to say other than pray for President Trump and his safety, because it seems like only God is the one protecting him at this point. Secret Service, I have no idea. I don't know. It's very strange, FBI, they won't investigate properly. They won't give us the answers. There's no transparency with that. We know furthermore that the Biden administration has not exactly been forthcoming when it comes to providing Secret Service protection for the political candidates running against either Joe or Kamala in this case. So it is what it is. Like I said, just say a prayer. But again, that is the developing situation. President Trump survives yet another assassination attempt. Fight. Very similar sentiment. And that said, be sure to leave a like on this video. Subscribe if you are new. God bless. Pray for Trump and peace.